Okay, Rabotai. This week we are in Parshat Pinchas. Parshat Pinchas, and there's a story told about a man from the Soviet Union. He made Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. Just to leave the Soviet Union was already a whole big deal, but he left to Eretz Yisrael with his family, and when he gets there, they give him an apartment, nice big apartment, in one of the distant developments. Not a lot of people there, and definitely not a big religious scene. But this man, he tells the government he's not living there. And they tell him, excuse me, this is where we're giving you. He says, I'm not. They give him another place. He goes another place. Again, same idea. And eventually he tells the people, tells those in charge, he says, I didn't come from Russia to live amongst ignoramuses. I came to live in Eretz Yisrael. I came to live in Israel, in the Jewish homeland. I need to see Judaism all around me. I need to see the religion of Judaism come alive in Eretz Yisrael. And so I cannot live here. And so he went to live in Yerushalayim. And although it was poverty and it was difficult, but he wasn't worried about it. And he merited that all of his children became upstanding and God-fearing Jews. And when asked later how he managed to do this and didn't fall in like so many other people who were enticed by these big apartments, and he said, my parents always talked about Eretz Yisrael. My grandfather always spoke about it. And they spoke about the greatness and the holiness. And when I came there, that's what I was looking for. That's what I wanted. In this week's Parsha, we have that the children of Tzelavchad, in Perek Chav Zayin, Pasuk Aleph, it says, V'tikravna benot Tzelavchad, ben Chefer, ben Gilad, ben Mocher, ben Menashe, l'mishpachot Menashe, ben Yosef. And it goes through, Ve'elu shemot benotav, Machla, Noah, Chogla, Milka, v'Tirza. And the Rashi asks the question, l'mishpachot Menashe ben Yosef? Lama nemar? Why have to say Menashe ben Yosef? Why don't you say Menashe? Everybody knows Menashe was the son of Yosef. Why you also have to say the word Yosef? The name Yosef. Se'el lemelcha. Says Rashi, they come to teach you. Yosef hibeb et haaretz. Yosef saw the land of Israel being very precious. Shenemar, as he told them, V'halitem et atzmotai. Take my bones up, bring them in Eretz Yisrael, bury me there. And so since his family saw that Yosef HaSadik, he appreciated, he valued, understood the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael. So many generations later, they still had that effect. That had an effect on them. Uvenotav chivibu ta'aretz, and now his great granddaughters also. Shneimar tina lanu ahuzah. They said, make sure to give us a possession. When a person does or says something, he has no idea the impact it has, especially on his children, but can also have on his grandchildren, even up to 7 generations, as we see by Yosef HaSadik. This obligates us exceedingly to think very carefully before doing anything, because everything has an inevitable action that begins with a thought and will continue and continue and continue. Therefore, we have to be very careful. Rabotai, in the Parsha, we have another pasuk. The pasuk going back in chapter 26. Pasuk Yud and Yud Aleph, 10 and 11. It ends off by saying, Vayu lenes, and they became a sign. Uvnei Korach lo metu, says the next pasuk. But the sons of Korach did not die. They didn't go. in their father's ways. They were in the beginning, but then they had tshuva and they survived. And the Mafarshim say, why right before it says of Nekorach Lometu, it says Vayulines, and it was a miracle? So the Mafarshim explain because that is a miracle. But the fact that Korach became a bad guy and his children didn't follow suit, that is a miracle. Because usually, like we just saw from Tzalavchad, and we saw from Yosef HaTzadik, children follow their parents. So the fact that it didn't happen here is a huge ness. In fact, I once heard that the truth is Korach was a good guy. And he raised his children right. Later he became, he went off the wrong way. But his earlier chinuch is what helped him make tshuva. But regardless, what we're seeing here, and either way you learn it, is that the effect of the father on the children, the effect on the parents on the children, are very important. And as parents, we have to come to the understanding that to raise children the right way, it takes time and effort to produce children with the results that we will be proud of. L'mashal, if a person has a field, if he wants to produce top-notch produce in the field, whether it be fruits, whether it be flowers, he has to work on it. He has to go in, he has to trim, prune, whatever you do, whatever they do. But if a person just leaves his field and he doesn't do anything for it, guess what? Thorns, weeds, and everything else in the field goes chaotic and it's gone. Because it's only if you put in effort and you put in the time, then you're going to get top-notch produce. There was one Admor that said, if you're ever in a shul by a kiddush, you can see which children were raised properly and which ones are lacking. He said, how do you see it? By the kiddush, the kids who run and they take all the food on their plate, more than they can possibly eat, and they're the first ones, not letting anyone else go, you can know that they didn't get the right chinuch. But children with proper chinuch, they have midot avot. They wait in line, they take a little bit, they let someone else go. They don't fill up their plates, that it's impossible to put anything else on there. They understand that it's not all for them. How much you can see by just walking into a kiddush in the shul. It's incumbent upon us to make sure that we're raising our children properly. One of the things that we can do is Shabbat afternoons. A lot of people, Shabbat afternoons, especially now in the summer, it's so long. And both parents want to go to sleep. They want to take a nap, rightfully so. It's been a busy week. Every week's been a busy week. No matter you're working, you're not working, what are you doing? It's always busy. And just because it comes Shabbat, you finally get a chance to take a rest. But what happens sometimes is both parents go to rest at the same time and no one's watching the kids. And now the kids, with no supervision, they either leave the house, they go hang out with somebody else, they go here, they go there, and there's no supervision on the kid. Nobody knows what they're doing, where they're going. And how many holy neshamot was lost because kids on Saturday afternoon, on Shabbat afternoon, don't have what to do, where to go. Baruch Hashem, a lot of shuls today, they have programs for the girls, for the boys. They have different things going on. The family should know where they are. The parents should know. And if they both want to take a nap, they can take one has to take shift, the 12 to 3, whatever times work. And the other one takes the other time. This way, there's always supervision on the children. Because if you know supervision, you're never going to see the results that we're looking for. Another idea. Shalom Bayit. If there's not proper Shalom Bayit in the house, that's what the kids see and that's what they learn. You want to help your children's marriages, Be'ezat Hashem, they're going to get married, work on your marriage. Because their marriage is going to be what they see you doing. A lot of times, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends children that know exactly how to press your buttons, how to get you nervous, how to get you upset. And your job is to work on your midot. And when you work on your midot, it rubs off on them. And they get good midot. In addition, and we can't stress this one more, time is of the essence. Time is the most important thing that children need from their parents. To have time with them. Now during the week, it gets very busy, but Baruch Hashem, our smartphones make us even more busier. And I can say that I know many fine Nashim Tzedkaniyot that they have a rule, and they stick to this rule always. They never break it, not even once. When the kids are home, they're not on their phones. They don't go on any of the apps. They don't check anything. If they need to answer a phone, maximum they go 2 minutes to talk because the children are now home. So when they come home from school, till they go to sleep, no phone. This way they can give their attention to their children, which is the most important thing that children need. And the same goes to fathers. Fathers can be very busy with work, shul, learning, whatever they're doing. Get very busy. Sometimes they even have less time to spend with the children than the wives, than the mothers. And so the little bit of time that you have with the children, and if you're Zayich to have more time, even better. But that limited time that you have should be used to the maximum quality. Kids always look to see if their parents are there for them. Are they available to them? And so a few minutes to make a little silliness, a few minutes to be with them, to play with them, even if it's not a full game, even if it's not a full thing, but those few minutes, you're going to hear it later on in life. Oh, you remember that time that we did this, that we did that, that we did this, that we did that? You don't even remember it. It was something silly, something small, whatever it was. But to the kid, that's the whole world. In fact, there's a famous story, a chaver of mine, and his father was very busy. He was a lawyer. And he was already getting 8, 9 years old. They made a birthday for him. And at the birthday, they asked him to make a wish. And then they asked him what his wish was. And he said, my wish was that my father's office burns to the ground. I said, why would you wish such a thing? He said, my father's always so busy, he has no time for me. So I figure if his office burns to the ground, he'll have more time for me. Because those are children. They want their parents' time. And we need to give to them to raise them right. And here's one more idea, Rabotai, is that when you go to the park, we get to take our children to the park. But what exactly are you doing in the park when you come there? Some ladies come, and they sit down on the bench, and they start schmoozing. And so they're really in the park for themselves. They didn't come to the park to be with their children. Their children are flying around, probably fighting, doing something crazy around the town. And they're just sitting and schmoozing. And there are some other parents that come, and they're there with their kids. They're helping them with the monkey bars. They're watching them down the slides. They're cheering them on. They're giving them these emotional boosts, because that is what the child needs. And so yes, the lady can sit down on the bench and schmooze, just not at the expense of the children, and not at the expense of that limited quality time that we have with our children. And so, I think the lesson that we've seen from this Parsha with the Bnot Tzlavcha and the Bnei Korach is that our children follow in our footsteps, for good and for bad. And unfortunately, the bad is a lot easier than the good. And the good takes effort, and it takes time. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should be zoicha to raise our children. Hashem should give us the energy, should give us the koach, give us the daya, the knowledge, the patience that we need to raise Hashem's children in the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. With this, I want to wish everybody Shabbat Shalom. Toda Rabah.